Alana here to revolutionise your mind. Today's topic is going to be about positive thinking. Over the last year, we have gone through COVID, as you know, and this has produced a lot of real current challenges. On top of the fact that people already have their own challenges that they're going through. People tend to go through real difficulties in their lives. We have cancer, there are people going through car accidents, people experiencing bereavements, people who've gone through trauma. And then, as well as people going through their own challenges, we've also now had to face COVID for the last year. The concept of positive thinking and positive attitudes. If there is an individual who no longer wants to be around, and someone wants to come to them and say, be positive. Just be positive. Why can't you think positive thoughts? Does this actually work? Or to say to someone, why don't you just laugh or smile? That person probably won't even be able to do so due to the absolute grievance that they're going through and how they're feeling from inside. So what I would love to do today is to begin to look at real positive thinking. What does actually work? How can you change your attitude and how can it be maintained in the long run so that you can continue to use practical steps every single time? You can use practical steps every single time you find yourself in a situation whereby you are going through a challenge or a difficulty, but you do not have the time and you need to get yourself into a positive attitude and begin to cultivate positive thoughts in your mind. So I began to have a look at this, and the first thing that I found was finding a purpose that's bigger than you. I'd love to share a story with you about an individual who went through an experience. And this really relates very strongly to this point. There was an African American individual who had been taken and was about to be hanged. As he was being dragged across the floor, and they were getting ready to hang him, the men that were all around all looked at him just as they were about to do this. And in the moment, in the spur of the moment, they said to him, speech, speech, speech. And what did he do at that point? What was his reaction to those men who were just about to hang him? He said, first of all, I'd just like to say that I have a real purpose and a mission in my life right now. And his purpose and his mission was to educate young children. And he said, I have no time to stoop so low as to hate any individual or to feel in any way, any form of feeling from inside, because I'm too busy with the bigger purpose and the bigger mission that I currently have in my life. Now, they were about to kill him, but because he had such a big purpose, he didn't have the time to be able to think of anything else other than his mission, even as they were about to kill him. Furthermore, he went on to say, I'd like to thank and named individuals of people who'd helped him out. He had many opportunities in his life, but he chose to find an open land. And he actually chose to educate young children who needed to be educated. Those men who were around him looked at him in absolute shock. They couldn't believe the response and weren't expecting it either. They looked at him and paused for a moment, and then they all began to clap. And one of them actually said, I believe this man, he is telling the truth, because I know somebody who had helped him out with his cause and his purpose. And in fact, at that moment, not only did they not release him, so they didn't kill him, on top of that, they actually donated money to helping him out with his mission. Therefore, if you are in a situation where you want to become more positive, cultivate more positive thoughts in your mind and feel and have a more positive attitude in your life, what really works is coming out of yourself and thinking about a purpose that's bigger than you. And this relates to another really important point. We live in a current world which is based on individualism. Individualism and thinking just about the self is one aspect that can cause a lot of misery to an individual. Therefore, and these 2 points link together, it's really about thinking, if you're in a situation where you're facing a challenge in your life and you want to feel more positive, so you want to have a more positive attitude and something that's going to be lasting, it's about realizing that this concept of individualism does not work. Thinking me, and myself is not something that will allow you to come out of the state that you're in. And obviously what we're hoping at this point is we're going to be more positive. Okay, another thing, changing your state. If you're facing a challenge in your life and you want to come out of that challenge, you have to be ruthlessly selective about what enters into your mind. This is going to allow you to become more positive in how you feel. The news is designed in such a way to create fear, false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. How do you feel when you watch the news? Do you feel good from within? Have you ever heard any positivity from the news, any positive stories? There are a lot of positive stories that happen around the world. If we look around us, we will see so much goodness taking place in the world. I myself have seen a lot of good work taking place when I've travelled around, and I have never, ever opened the news and heard anything positive. So one step you can take, especially if you want to get yourself into a positive state, is stop watching the news. The other thing you can begin to do is be ruthlessly selective about any information, anything that's going to make you feel bad from within, don't read it. Anything that you're going to watch that's going to, any negative stories, any articles, any channels, any TV programs, anything at all about, if you're going to watch a documentary and it's going to be about, murder and horror and things that are happening around the world, in that moment when you're trying to get yourself into a positive state, that's not going to allow you to come into that, especially when going through those challenges. The next point is, which I find this absolutely fascinating, links to energy psychology. Okay, when you meet someone, the first thing, any human being that you come across, the way that they introduce themselves is not by body language. It's not by how they behave. It's actually their energy. Your energy speaks before you do. And this is really interesting because if you were going to meet an individual, or if I was going to meet an individual, the first thing that you're going to be seeing is their energy. And that's going to come through the chakra points in the body, and that will be revealed to you. So from this point, how can we change how we feel? How can we become more positive? How can we have a more positive attitude? We need to start to really tune in to how certain places make us feel. Certain people make us feel. Certain situations make us feel. Say you go somewhere. How are you feeling in that place? And there are certain places which you can go to which can make you feel a lot better from inside. I'd like to share with you an article that I had come across, which I was very, very excited about. Now, this is based on going to certain places which actually improve chakra points in the body. And as we know, chakra points in the body are linked to energy points in the body which help you in your life. So let me give you an example. Say you were to go to Glastonbury. Okay, now Glastonbury, that makes your heart chakra stronger. What's the heart chakra linked to? The heart chakra is linked to how you feel about yourself. So how much love you feel towards yourself and how much love you feel towards others. Your heart chakra is also linked to how much compassion you have for others, how much compassion you have for the world, and how much compassion you have in terms of your day-to-day life. Now, if you visit Glastonbury, this actually makes your heart chakra stronger. And if this is a challenge that anyone feels that they're going through, then this is a really good place to visit to strengthen the heart chakra. So this can also be linked to other points. So for example, you can go to holy sites, any spiritual site. Usually you will feel something from within. And that's what that feeling is you're actually picking up on frequencies and vibrational energies that are making you feel a certain way. So I am going to talk more about this in other videos, but for now, let's focus on this point, which is anytime you go somewhere, think, how does this make me feel? Okay, moving on to the next point. Let's have a look here. So another point really is about who you surround yourself with, okay? And I want to just very briefly talk about work environments, and I want to link this to positivity. Now, workplace environments, it's really important that we begin to look at this, because toxic workplace environments, especially if they've been designed in such a way where you're not feeling from inside good when you go in and good when you leave, can actually cause sickness within the body. So it's really important that we actually begin to look at this. How can we begin to create more positive work environments? When an employee is going into work, how is that person feeling when they first enter the workplace? And when they're dealing with their colleagues? How are they also feeling when they come home in the evening? Is that workplace having an impact on them? This will have an impact on your attitude. Most of our lives is spent working. Therefore, if we are in an environment which is not allowing us to tap into that positive energy and that positive attitude, it's going to be really, really difficult to, when someone says, well, I want you to feel more positive, but you've just experienced an environment which didn't allow you to feel positive. Very, very briefly, how can we begin to have more positive work environments? For example, one basic thing could be around the workplace, motivational quotes, positive quotes around the workplace. It could also be about, encouraging each individual to work towards self-mastery, personal development courses in work environments. There are many, many factors that can be looked into. I'm very, very excited about sharing more with you in future videos. For now, I'd just like to say to you, just remember one thing. If you begin to incorporate some of what I've said, especially these points, you will be able to not only change your state, but anytime you go through a challenge, begin to put some of these points into practice. And I guarantee you'll start to feel real positivity from within. No matter what happens, always think about, how can I change my state and change how I feel? Begin to notice things a lot more, and you'll actually begin to see changes very, very slowly taking place. I wish you the very, very best, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next video. Thank you very much. Alana here to revolutionise your mind. Today's topic is going to be about positive thinking. Over the last year, we have gone through COVID, as you know, and this has produced a lot of real current challenges. On top of the fact that people already have their own challenges that they're going through. People tend to go through real difficulties in their lives. We have cancer, there are people going through car accidents, people experiencing bereavements, people who've gone through trauma. And then, as well as people going through their own challenges, we've also now had to face COVID for the last year. The concept of positive thinking and positive attitudes. If there is an individual who no longer wants to be around, and someone wants to come to them and say, be positive. Just be positive. Why can't you think positive thoughts? Does this actually work? Or to say to someone, why don't you just laugh or smile? That person probably won't even be able to do so due to the absolute grievance that they're going through and how they're feeling from inside. So what I would love to do today is to begin to look at real positive thinking. What does actually work? How can you change your attitude and how can it be maintained in the long run so that you can continue to use practical steps every single time? You can use practical steps every single time you find yourself in a situation whereby you are going through a challenge or a difficulty, but you do not have the time